Don't forget to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to stay updated with our latest stories. I never imagined an ordinary Thursday night would turn into something I'd still be thinking about weeks later. Life at 55 was supposed to be predictable. Work, home, a glass of wine, maybe an old movie before bed. But that night, everything changed with a single unexpected invitation. It came as a message on my phone just as I was about to settle in with my book. The sender's name made my breath hitch, Daniel Parker. A name I hadn't seen in years. A name that carried with it memories of laughter, shared glances, and something unspoken that had once hovered between us. Hey, Elizabeth. I know this is last minute, but I'm in town for one night. Would love to catch up. Dinner. I stared at the message, my fingers hovering over the keyboard. Daniel and I had worked together nearly 2 decades ago. He was one of those men who had a quiet charm, never arrogant but always self-assured. We'd always had a connection, one that never crossed any lines but always lingered in the air between us, waiting for the right moment. Only that moment had never come. Life had taken us in different directions. And now here he was, after all these years. My heart raced as I typed back, where and what time? His response came almost immediately. 8 p.m. The Harrington Hotel rooftop bar. I blinked. The Harrington was one of the finest spots in the city. Elegant, intimate with soft golden lighting that made everything feel like it existed in another time. This wasn't just a casual dinner. I took a deep breath, smoothed my hands over my dress, and told myself it was just dinner with an old friend. But my reflection in the mirror betrayed me. The way I touched up my lipstick twice, the way I changed my earrings at the last minute, the way my stomach twisted in anticipation. By the time I arrived, the city skyline stretched around me in a dazzling display of lights. The air was crisp, carrying the scent of rain that hadn't yet fallen. And then I saw him. Daniel. He stood near the railing, gazing at the view, a glass of whiskey in hand. The years had been kind to him. His salt and pepper hair was thicker than I remembered, his frame still strong. And when he turned and saw me, his smile was the same, slow, warm, as if no time had passed at all. Elizabeth, he said, stepping forward. His voice was deep, steady, familiar. You look exactly the same. I laughed, shaking my head. You're a terrible liar. He chuckled, motioning for me to sit. Maybe, but I meant it. The night unfolded in a blur of conversation and laughter, of reminiscing about old office jokes and the people we'd lost touch with. The years between us melted away with each story, each sip of wine. And then, somewhere between dessert and a second drink, the conversation shifted. So, tell me something, he said, his voice lower, more thoughtful. Why didn't we ever? He trailed off, letting the words hang between us. My breath caught. I knew what he was asking. And the truth was, I had asked myself the same thing countless times. Bad timing, I finally said. You were married back then. I respected that. He nodded, running a hand over the rim of his glass. I was. And then, when I wasn't anymore, life happened. But I always wondered if things had been different. I swallowed hard. There was something so intimate about old feelings resurfacing after years of being buried. Are you wondering now? I asked before I could stop myself. He looked at me for a long moment, then exhaled a soft laugh. I am. The air between us felt charged, like standing at the edge of something unknown. And for the first time in years, I let myself wonder too. The night was far from over. The rooftop bar was quieter now, the city's hum fading into a gentle background noise. The candle between us flickered, casting shadows across Daniel's face. His expression was unreadable, but his eyes, those deep, thoughtful eyes, held something I hadn't seen before. Something I wasn't sure how to name. I took a sip of my wine, my fingers tightening around the glass. "So," I said, forcing a lightness into my voice, "what exactly are you wondering?" Daniel leaned back in his chair, his gaze steady. "I'm wondering how different things could have been if I had made different choices." A warmth spread through my chest, equal parts nostalgia and something dangerously close to longing. "You can't change the past, Daniel." "No," he agreed, his fingers tapping against the side of his glass. "But sometimes the past finds its way back to you." I let out a quiet laugh, shaking my head. "That sounds like something out of a movie." His lips curved into a smirk. "Maybe. But tonight, it doesn't feel like coincidence, does it?" I swallowed, my heartbeat quickening. He wasn't wrong. The years had separated us, life had pushed us in different directions, and yet, here we were. Two people sitting across from each other, not as co-workers, not as friends reminiscing, but as something else entirely. Something unresolved. The air felt heavy, charged with the kind of tension that only existed between two people who had almost been something once but never were. "Come with me," Daniel said suddenly, standing and holding out his hand. I hesitated. "Where?" He smiled, tilting his head toward the elevator. "For a walk. Somewhere quieter." Every rational part of me screamed to say no. To finish my wine, say goodnight, and leave with my dignity intact. But my heart, the one that had once fluttered whenever he walked into the room, made the decision for me. I took his hand. The warmth of his palm against mine sent an unexpected shiver down my spine. He led me toward the elevator, and as the door slid shut behind us, the silence between us grew even heavier. Neither of us spoke as we descended, but I could feel the tension between us, thick and undeniable. When the doors opened, Daniel guided me through the quiet hallways of the hotel until we stepped out into a private courtyard, hidden away from the city's chaos. A small fountain trickled in the center, surrounded by ivy-covered walls. String lights hung overhead, casting a soft golden glow across the cobblestone path. It was the kind of place you'd never find unless you knew exactly where to look. "How did you know about this?" I asked, breaking the silence. Daniel slipped his hands into his pockets, looking around. "I stayed here once, years ago. Found this place by accident. I thought you'd like it." I smiled, wrapping my arms around myself against the cool night air. "You remember what I like." His expression softened. "Elizabeth, I remember everything about you." Something about the way he said it made my chest tighten. We stood there for a moment, neither of us moving, neither of us daring to break whatever fragile thread was holding this moment together. "I don't know what this is," I admitted finally, my voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know if it's just nostalgia or—" Daniel took a step closer, just enough that I could feel the warmth of him in the cool night air. "Does it matter?" I looked up at him, searching his face for something. Reassurance? Understanding? Maybe even a sign that I wasn't crazy for feeling this way after all these years. But all I saw was a man who had once been a question mark in my life. And now, for the first time, he was offering me an answer. Before I could overthink it, I did something I never would have dared to do back then. I reached for his hand. And just like that, the past and present collided in a way I never could have anticipated. The moment my fingers curled around his, something shifted in the air between us. It wasn't just nostalgia. It was something real, something alive. I felt it in the way his thumb brushed over my knuckles, the way his eyes searched mine as if waiting for permission to step further into the unknown. I didn't pull away. Daniel exhaled, a slow and steady breath, as if trying to ground himself in the moment. "Are you sure?" he asked, his voice quiet but weighted. I wasn't sure of anything except that I didn't want to let go. So I didn't. Instead, I tightened my grip and gave him a small, almost nervous smile. I think I've spent too many years being sure of the wrong things. His lips parted as if he wanted to say something, but then he just nodded, his fingers interlocking with mine. And just like that, the years between us faded into the background. We walked in silence, following the cobblestone path through the courtyard. The distant hum of the city felt a world away. The night air was crisp, carrying the scent of rain that still hadn't fallen. I felt strangely weightless, as if I'd left behind the woman who had arrived at the rooftop bar just an hour ago. As we reached the edge of the courtyard, Daniel stopped, turning to face me fully. His expression was unreadable, but his eyes, deep and steady, held something unspoken. "There's something I never told you," he said, rubbing the back of his neck. "Back when we worked together." I tilted my head. "Oh?" He hesitated, then let out a quiet laugh, shaking his head. "I used to find reasons to walk by your office, even when I didn't need to." A warmth spread through my chest, an old flicker of a feeling I had nearly forgotten. "I knew," I admitted, smiling. "I just never knew why." His gaze softened. "Because being around you made the day better." The simplicity of his words made my breath hitch. It wasn't a grand declaration, wasn't poetry. But somehow, it meant more than either of those things ever could. I swallowed hard, feeling that same old tension creeping back in. The same tension that had always been there between us, lingering just beneath the surface. "So why didn't you ever say anything?" I asked, my voice softer now. He exhaled, running a hand through his salt and pepper hair. "Because I was married. And because I respected you too much to put you in that position." My chest tightened. "And now?" He took a step closer, just enough that I could feel the warmth of him. "Now, I'm wondering if we're out of reasons." I searched his face, my pulse hammering in my ears. There had always been something unfinished between us, something unsaid. And now, standing here in this quiet little courtyard, I realized that unfinished thing was still waiting for an ending. Or maybe a beginning. I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. "Daniel, I don't know what this is," I admitted. "I don't know if it's just the past sneaking up on us, or if it's something else." He studied me for a long moment before reaching up, gently tucking a stray strand of hair behind my ear. "What if it's both?" His touch was careful, hesitant, as if afraid that one wrong move might shatter whatever fragile thing was forming between us. I closed my eyes for a second, steadying myself, then met his gaze again. Then maybe I don't want to overthink it. A slow smile spread across his lips. Me neither. And just like that, the weight of years of unspoken words and what-ifs seemed to lift. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't thinking about the past or the future. I was just here, with him, in this moment. And maybe, for now, that was enough. The night wrapped around us, quiet and full of possibility. There was something surreal about standing here, in a tucked-away courtyard of a hotel, holding hands with a man I had once thought was just a passing chapter in my life. But now, I wasn't so sure. Daniel hadn't let go of my hand, and I hadn't pulled away. Instead, we stood there, as if waiting for the world to catch up with whatever had just shifted between us. "Come with me," he said softly, tilting his head toward the hotel entrance. I hesitated, not because I was unsure of him, but because I was unsure of myself. I was 55, not 25. I had spent a lifetime making careful choices, following the expected path. And yet, standing here now, with my hand in his, the most reckless choice somehow felt like the right one. I nodded. He led me inside, not toward the bustling lobby, but down a quieter hallway, where a lounge with dim lighting and soft jazz music playing in the background offered more privacy. We settled into a quiet corner, the warmth of the room wrapping around us like a cocoon. A server appeared, and before I could even think about ordering, Daniel spoke. 2 glasses of red, please. I raised an eyebrow. You remember? He smirked. Like I said, Elizabeth, I remember everything. There was something about the way he said my name, slow, deliberate, that sent a shiver down my spine. The wine arrived, and as I took a slow sip, I studied him. The years had left their mark on both of us. There were lines around his eyes, a sprinkle of gray in his beard, but none of it made him look older. If anything, it made him look like a man who had lived, who had learned. I don't know what to do with this, I admitted, swirling my wine. With us. Daniel leaned forward, his forearms resting on the table. What if you didn't have to know? What if, for once, we just let things happen? I exhaled, letting the weight of his words settle. I had spent my whole life planning, analyzing, making sure I never stepped into anything uncertain. But wasn't this what I had wanted once? The possibility of something real. I looked at him then, really looked at him. At the man who had always been there in the back of my mind, a what if I had never dared to explore. I think, I said slowly, setting down my glass, that I'm tired of wondering what could have been. His eyes darkened with something I couldn't quite name. So am I? Silence stretched between us, but it wasn't uncomfortable. It was filled with something deeper, something waiting to be acknowledged. And then he reached for my hand again. Not urgently, not possessively, just a quiet, steady touch, as if to remind me that this moment was real, that we were real. I squeezed his hand, a slow smile pulling at my lips. So what now? Daniel chuckled, shaking his head. Now, I walk you to your car like a gentleman. And then, if you'll let me, I'd like to take you to dinner tomorrow. A proper one. No past, no regrets, just you and me. A warmth spread through my chest. That sounds like a start. He lifted my hand to his lips, brushing a soft kiss over my knuckles. Then let's start. And just like that, the story I had never expected to write, the one I had spent years unknowingly waiting for, began.